white people are going extinct.
Yep.
You are going extinct. And then when you tell people this, they have lots of different answers to it. But nationalism is feared when white people band together. And then, you know, you can argue, this actually ties back into something that's very interesting. The reason they fear nationalism when white people get banded together is because they apply it to World War II. They say, well, white nationalists do what Hitler did because he was a white nationalist. So they say that when white people get together and are nationalistic, it's like the Nazis. When other people get together and they're nationalistic, it's not. That is a threat. That's not a threat to drug dealers. You know that's a threat to nation states, right? You know that when we were in Afghanistan, we ensured the opium was grown because we sent the opium to China and Iraq and we wanted to subvert their populations and Iran. You do know that, like, America does it. America produces drugs and sends them to their enemies. You do know China is sending drugs here. This is a veiled threat to nation states. This is deeper than just some idiot getting a death sentence. This is letting people know that, yeah, your spies will get assassinated. This is deep. This is many layers deep.
By the way, the part of me loves this. So the guy says, hey, man, you're going to make $100,000 on this cocaine. Hey, bro, I'm good.
Yep.
Yeah, but then, okay, so you want to make the argument? Then almost what percentage of doctors are going to jail? Because those motherfuckers are putting prescriptions out for Vicodin.
There was a doctor. You're right. There was a doctor.
Okay, so then how far the big pharma's going to jail?
Guess what, though?
Albert Bourla, who made the vaccine for Pfizer, going to jail?
A dentist was selling Vicodin to my friend who eventually died because he took 50 of them.
Weird.
A dentist was selling them back in the days. It was,
and that's legal.
$10 a pop, $8 a pop, because you would buy so many of them.
What we're actually discussing here is the entire attitude towards law enforcement as a whole. And this is something I've been researching heavily since I got out of jail. When I was in jail in Romania, I sat there and I was with a bunch of people in jail. And obviously you all discuss your stories. And one guy was in jail for looking in a car window. There was car break-ins on this street. He was walking up and down the street. The police caught him looking in a window. Didn't bring in the car. He was looking in the car and they arrested him and said, we think you did it, jail. So the Romanian attitude towards justice is, we may get a few innocent bystanders, but we just lock up everyone. But society is safe. Whereas if you look at the British or the American way, we have larger crime problems than Romania because we believe in individual liberty. So often with most law enforcement decisions, you have to decide, do you think of the ant or the ant farm? Because if you think of the ant farm, some ants just die. And lots of countries do this. Japan has a 99% conviction rate. Do you think that's because they're so fantastic at law enforcement? Or do you think that's because some innocent people go to jail because they care more about the perception of law and order than they care about one person's individual liberty? So this is what's interesting. It is the West that believes in, what about this individual's liberty? And it is other countries that think we're prepared to sacrifice some people for the greater good, for the good and sanctity of society as a whole. There are different approaches to law enforcement. That's why China and Singapore do that. China and Singapore, I will guarantee, have executed some innocent people. But in the end, less people have died. It's the same. It's the guy with the cart. You've seen the cart, and there's one person in front, and there's 5 people, the train on the tracks, and he has to pull the lever. That's all it is. And this is the approach to law enforcement globally. It's actually only Western nations that give a shit about individuality. In countries like Romania, they're like, people think he may have done it. He's a big guy. Fuck it. It's just fuck it. Fuck it. He looked in the car window. Maybe. But you can walk around at 3 a.m. with a diamond watch on. And you're not gonna have any trouble. So it's
couple more topics before we wrap up. Good point. By the way, Rob, can you pull up the clip with